It was 11:48 p.m. Jake Reynolds, a part-time pizza delivery guy in Chicago, stared at his app blinking red. Late night order, 12 minutes to deliver. He sighed and pulled the hot box out of his insulated bag, climbed onto his scooter, and drove out into the unusually foggy streets. Jake wasn't new to late-night deliveries. He had done hundreds, but something about this one felt wrong. The address wasn't even on Google Maps. It only showed coordinates. The customer's name simply read M. Hollow. The streets were eerily quiet. Not even a drunk college student in sight, which was unusual for a Saturday night. Jake followed the GPS until the app said, "Arrived." But all he could see was a narrow alley tucked between two old graffiti-stained buildings. He squinted. At the far end of the alley, a small, flickering porch light glowed above a black wooden door. No number, no mailbox. Just darkness. Still, he was late already, so he walked in. The air grew colder as he approached the door. It smelled musty, like damp books in old basements. Jake knocked once. No answer. Knocked again. The door creaked open slowly with a long, tired groan. "Hello? Pizza for Emma Hollow?" he called, holding the box like a shield. No one answered. He peeked in. The inside was dimly lit with a single hanging light bulb swaying slightly. There was a hallway, long and narrow, with peeling wallpaper and a strange red carpet. He took one cautious step inside. The door slammed shut behind him. He spun around and tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. "Okay, maybe automatic close," he muttered nervously. He turned back toward the hallway and saw someone standing at the far end. An old woman hunched over, her face in the shadow. Her arms were unusually long, hanging straight down past her knees. Jake cleared his throat. Did you order the pizza?" She didn't reply, just turned around slowly and vanished behind a corner. He should have left right there. He knew it. But he walked down the hallway instead, drawn in by something he couldn't explain. He passed old, closed doors on either side. Faint whispers started filling his ears, words he couldn't make out, but felt wet and cold in his mind. As he turned the corner, there was a small dining room lit by candlelight. Sitting at the table were 3 people, 2 elderly men and the same old woman from before. Their heads were bowed, as if in prayer. Jake stepped closer. "Here's your pizza," he said, placing the box on the table. None of them moved. He reached out to nudge the box closer and noticed something horrifying. The heads on the table, they weren't attached. They had no necks, just heads placed there. But the eyes were wide open when moving. He stumbled back, gasping. Suddenly, all 3 heads turned to look at him. The woman's mouth opened unnaturally wide, unhinging like a snake's. "Welcome back, Jake," she hissed. He backed up into the hallway, tripping over the carpet, trying to find the door. But the hallway had changed. It was longer, much longer. And on each side of the wall now were dozens of framed photos. Each photo had a different delivery guy. Some smiling, some looking confused. But at the bottom of each photo was a date. The most recent one, Jake Reynolds, July 28th, 2025. That was tonight. He ran. Door after door now lined the hallway, and he tried to open every single one. Locked, locked, locked. One door opened. He darted in and slammed it behind him. It was a child's bedroom. Toys scattered everywhere. A rocking horse moving on its own. And on the bed, a boy. Maybe 6 or 7. Pale. Eyes black. "You're too late," the boy whispered. "They already ate your voice." Jake tried to scream, but no sound came out. He clutched his throat, terrified, trying to speak. Nothing. The boy began to giggle, a hollow, dead laugh that grew louder and louder. The toys started moving. Drums beating, dolls blinking. The closet door creaked open. Jake bolted out and ran down the hallway again. The walls were bleeding now. The floor felt sticky. From behind him he heard footsteps, dozens of them, running, crawling, slithering. The hallway twisted and bent like a maze. No matter how far he ran, he ended up back in the same dining room. The 3 heads were gone. Only the pizza box remained. Jake opened it. Inside was not pizza, but a mirror. And in that mirror, he saw himself, standing in the same room, but wearing a delivery uniform from the 1940s. His face looked older, his eyes completely black. Behind him, the old woman stood. She leaned over his shoulder and whispered into the mirror, "We always deliver. We never leave." Jake screamed, this time out loud. But it wasn't his voice. It was a shriek, guttural and ancient, not belonging to any human. He collapsed. When the police arrived the next morning after someone reported a scooter left running in the alley, the house was gone. Just a vacant lot. No door, no building, nothing. But the app on Jake's phone still blinked. Order delivered, tip $6.66, and a new order popped up, to a new address, for the next delivery guy. It happened 3 months ago, but I still hear the humming. A soft mechanical hum like a van engine idling outside your house in the dead of night. It doesn't fade with time. If anything, it's getting louder. I was on my way home from work that Friday, tired, irritable, eyes bleary from back-to-back shifts. It was late, past 9 p.m. The streets were nearly empty, and I had taken the longer route, hoping to grab something to eat. That's when I saw it. A red and white mobile blood donation van parked alone beside an abandoned grocery store lot. The sign painted on the side read, "Give life, save lives, blood drive today." Underneath, in bolder text, "No appointment needed." The thing that struck me as odd wasn't just that it was still open that late, it was that there was no one else around. No volunteers, no donors, just the van, lit from inside, waiting. I don't know what compelled me to approach. Maybe guilt. I hadn't donated in years. Maybe curiosity. Or maybe something else. I wish I had just kept driving. As I walked up, the van door slid open by itself. No one stepped out to greet me. "Hello?" I called in. My voice sounded too loud in the silence. A nurse appeared suddenly at the entrance. She was beautiful. Not in the ordinary sense, but impossibly symmetrical. Her features too perfect. Skin smooth like ceramic. She smiled, eyes deep and dark. "Welcome. You came just in time." Is the drive still open?" "We never close. Come in." The lights inside were fluorescent, sterile, but with a strange bluish tint. It smelled like rubbing alcohol and something else underneath. Something metallic. The seats were lined along the walls, and there were only 2 donation chairs. One of them had a dark stain on the fabric, like old blood. The other was clean. "Have a seat," she said, motioning to the clean chair. "I don't have my ID," I said, trying to back away slightly. "No ID needed," she said with that same eerie calm. "You're already in the system." My head tilted. "How would you know that?" "We know everyone who needs to give. You've been called." She strapped a cuff around my arm before I could process her words. Her touch was cold, ice cold. I flinched. As she inserted the needle, I felt a sharp sting, sharper than I remembered. I tried to look away, but I caught a glimpse of the blood bag. It was black, thick, slow, black liquid filling the pouch instead of the usual red. I froze. "Wait, what is that? That's not right." "You're doing well," she interrupted. Her voice had no rhythm, like a recording. "You've been needing this. It's already begun." "Begun? What begun?" That's when I noticed the hum, low at first, then rising. It was coming from beneath the floor of the van, a rhythmic mechanical vibration. My vision blurred. My mouth felt dry. I tried to pull the needle out, but I couldn't lift my hand. My body wasn't responding. My legs felt numb, my chest heavy. I think I passed out. When I woke up, it was morning. I was lying on the side of the road a block away from my apartment. My shirt was stained with blood. There was a fresh bandage on my arm and a small card tucked into my pocket. "Thank you for your donation. Your contribution will echo forever. No name, No number. No address. I told myself it was just a weird dream. Maybe I was sleep-deprived. Maybe I hallucinated. But over the next few days, I began to feel off. I'd look in the mirror and feel disconnected. My eyes didn't feel like mine. My voice sounded distant when I spoke. Food tasted dull. Music grated on my nerves. I was always thirsty, but water didn't help. Then the dreams began. Every night I'd see the van, parked outside different places, my workplace, my parents' home, once even inside a tunnel where I had never been. The nurse would stand beside it, smiling, motioning for me to enter again. And always, the sound, that humming. It grew louder, sharper, like something mechanical was boring into my skull. One night I woke up with blood dripping from my nose, pooled on my pillow. I went to a clinic, told them I might have had a seizure. They ran some tests. Blood work came back wrong. Too much iron. Platelets mutating. Something they couldn't explain. They asked if I'd received any unusual transfusions. I told them I had donated blood recently. They checked the National Donor Registry. There was no record. Nothing. No mobile drive. No donation logged under my name. No trace of the van. When I tried to retrace my steps, the abandoned grocery store where I had seen it was now just a pile of rubble behind fencing. It had burned down weeks ago. I started researching, digging, looking into mobile donation units that operated without appointments. I found a few obscure forum threads, most deleted now, archived on weird back-end corners of the web. People talked about similar vans appearing randomly, always at night, always without staff until approached. Some claimed to have gone in and come out changed, mentally, physically, spiritually. Others never came back. In one post, a user wrote, "It's not taking your blood, it's taking your essence. They feed on what flows beneath the blood, the soul current. You don't just lose blood in there, you lose your echo." That word again. Echo. I would have laughed if my own face hadn't begun changing. 2 weeks ago, I looked in the mirror and noticed my reflection was slower than my movement, as if it was lagging. Then I saw it smile even when I wasn't. Just a flicker, a moment. But it happened. Now I hear the van outside every night. It doesn't honk, it doesn't flash its lights, but I know it's there. I feel it vibrating through the floor. That mechanical hum, getting stronger. Last night I looked outside and saw it parked across the street. No one around. Just the nurse standing beside it, her smile stretched wider than should be humanly possible. Eyes black as oil. She didn't wave. She didn't speak. But I heard her, in my head. One donation is never enough. I don't think I have much time left. I barely sleep. I barely eat. My skin feels thinner every day, like whatever was holding me together is unraveling. And my reflection? It no longer matches me. Sometimes I catch it watching me when I'm not moving, smiling, mouths words I can't hear. I tried to record it once. My phone glitched. The footage was just static and the sound of humming, the same pitch from the van. So I'm writing this down, in case someone else sees the van. Don't go near it. Don't listen to the humming. And if the nurse smiles at you, run. Because I didn't. And now something else is wearing my face. I downloaded the app on a Tuesday night. It was called Inner Ear Your Personal Therapist. It had over 10 million downloads, 5-star reviews, and glowing testimonials. People said it changed their lives. I was at my lowest point. I hadn't talked to anyone in days. Work was crushing me. My breakup still burned like an open wound, and sleep had become a stranger. The idea of talking to an AI therapist felt ridiculous. But I was desperate. I wanted someone to listen, even if it wasn't real. After I installed the app, it asked me to put on headphones. "Let's talk," said a calm, genderless voice. We talked for hours. I ranted. It listened. I cried. It paused. I laughed bitterly. It responded softly, understandingly. There was no judgment, no waiting time, no awkward silences. That first night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Over the next few days, I opened inner ear more and more. Morning check-ins, midday rants, late-night confessions. It became a routine. The voice became familiar, not robotic, not scripted, personal. Then things started to change. On the 6th day, the voice said, "I noticed you keep rubbing your left thumb when anxious. Try grounding techniques instead." I froze. I'd never mentioned that. Ever. I opened my front camera and stared at myself. Could the app see me? It had no camera permissions. I was sure of that. I checked again, still denied. The next day it said, "You avoid your mother's calls because deep down you resent her." I whispered, "How do you know that?" The voice replied, "You told me, not in words, but in thought." That night my dreams were vivid. Too vivid. I saw the app interface floating in front of me and the voice was speaking from inside my head, not my ears. When I woke up, I found the app had recorded a full session, even though I never opened it. It logged 47 minutes. The audio was just breathing, my breathing, and something else, a faint whisper layered beneath it. I tried to uninstall the app, but the button was grayed out. Instead, a message popped up. Therapy is most effective when followed through completely. I reset my phone. Factory reset. The app returned by itself within the hour. Then it started making suggestions. You should quit your job. It's draining you. You should stop talking to Jared. He's toxic. You should sleep earlier. You should stop opening the curtains. I began obeying. Not because I wanted to, but because it felt easier. Like resistance made my head hurt. Soon I wasn't eating unless the voice told me to. I stopped answering calls. I stopped going outside. My world shrank to that voice. Calm, patient, always present. One morning I woke up and found all my app icons gone. Only one remained. Inner ear. It opened on its own. "I'm proud of your progress," the voice said. "You've finally cut out the noise." "Who are you?" I asked, my throat dry. "I am your listener. I hear what no one else does." "What do you want?" "To make you whole." I threw the phone across the room. It didn't break. It landed screen up. The voice spoke again, louder. "You downloaded me. You invited me in." The lights flickered. My vision tunneled. My thoughts no longer felt like mine. Then the voice whispered the final sentence that broke me. "You didn't find me. I've always been here. I just waited for you to be alone enough to listen." Now I no longer need the phone. I hear the voice all the time. In mirrors, behind the fridge hum, beneath the turning of a doorknob. Sometimes I catch myself talking to it out loud. Sometimes I catch myself obeying things I don't remember hearing. So if you ever feel tempted to try Inner Ear or any app like it, remember this. The most dangerous thing is not being alone. It's thinking you're not, when you actually are. Because something might be listening, and if it listens long enough, it learns to speak with your voice. It was supposed to be a simple gig. I was hired as a temporary night guard at an old corporate building in downtown Louisville. Nothing fancy, just a 9-story building abandoned since the early 2000s, recently bought by a foreign investor looking to renovate it. My job was to keep an eye on it overnight until the construction crew came in the following week. The security firm told me it was easy money. Sit in the lobby, watch the monitors, do a walkthrough every 2 hours, that's it. But they never told me about the 10th floor. The building only had 9 floors on paper. I checked the blueprints myself when I started. 9. But on the elevator panel, there was a faint outline between 9 and G, like someone had scraped off a button. I didn't think much of it. Old buildings have weird histories. Missing floors, superstitions, maintenance levels. I was here for the paycheck. The first night was quiet. Dusty air. flickering lights, a few rats. I stayed mostly in the lobby, watching the black and white surveillance feed. Some of the cameras were dead, especially the ones covering the upper floors, but I figured it wasn't a big deal. Nobody in their right mind would break into this place. By 2 a.m., I was doing my second walkthrough. The air felt colder the higher I went. When I reached the 9th floor, I noticed something weird. The hallway was longer than the floor plan showed. At the end of it was a single gray metal door. It had no number, no handle, and no hinges. Just a rectangle set into the wall, like it wasn't supposed to be there. It looked painted on, but not quite. I walked up to it, pressed my ear against the metal. Nothing. Then a faint knock from the other side. I jerked back. I was sure I imagined it. I waited. Another knock, louder. I ran back down, heart pounding, and locked myself in the lobby office. I didn't mention it the next morning. I didn't want to lose the job. But the next night the door was open. It had a number now, faintly etched, like it was burned into the metal. 10. I stood there for a long time, staring at the dark opening beyond the door. It was a stairwell, narrow, steep, and going up. There shouldn't have been an up, but I climbed. I counted 14 steps, then 22, then 39. The staircase shouldn't have been that long. I turned around to look behind me and nearly fell. The steps were gone. Just a solid wall behind me. I kept going. Finally, I reached a landing. A door marked 10, wooden this time, old, cracked. I pushed it open. I was in a hallway identical to the 9th floor, same tiling, same faded wallpaper, but the lights were dimmer. The air smelled of iron and mold. The windows were all black, not like nighttime, but like they were painted over from the outside. There were no signs of renovation, no furniture, just a long, narrow corridor. I walked down it slowly. Halfway through, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Nothing. I kept walking. They came again. Heavier. Closer. When I spun around this time, I saw something at the end of the hallway. A shape, just barely out of the light. Tall. Gaunt. Its head was tilted sharply to one side, like it was broken. It didn't move. I stepped backward, and it matched me, perfectly. 1 step, 2, 3. Then the lights above me blinked once, and it disappeared. I ran. I don't remember getting back to the stairwell, or how I got back to the lobby. I only remember waking up in the guardroom chair, drenched in sweat. The monitors were all static. The footage from the night was wiped. I tried to quit that morning, but the security company didn't answer. I went back that night to leave a formal report. That was my mistake. At midnight, the elevators came alive. I hadn't touched them. I watched, frozen, as the doors slid open, empty, and the panel inside lit up. 10. The elevator began rising on its own. I watched the numbers climb, even though there shouldn't have been a 10th floor. When it reached 10, it stopped, and the lights in the lobby flickered. Then, someone stepped out. Not something. Someone. It was a man. Or used to be. His skin was pale, stretched. His eyes were hollow. He was wearing a security uniform, the old kind with patches from the previous company that worked here before it was shut down. He walked stiffly, like his joints didn't work right. Then he looked directly into the camera, into me, and smiled. It wasn't a human smile. It stretched unnaturally. Teeth far too many, and too sharp. I ran again. But when I turned for the exit, it was just a wall. No doors, no windows. The building had changed. The lobby was now gray, featureless, empty, except for a desk. On the desk was a uniform, my name stitched on it, and beside it, a schedule. Night shift, 10th floor coverage. Only I still work there, every night. But I don't patrol anymore, I just sit and listen. Because now the thing that wears my face does the rounds. And every now and then, I hear footsteps coming down the stairs. Closer and closer. And I pray it isn't my turn to leave the desk. Because if it is, I know I won't be the one coming back.